Welcome to the Peninsula in Erie, Pennsylvania. It's a natural peninsula that sticks out into Lake Erie, starting from basically Mill Creek and wrapping around. We're approaching it from West 6th Street. We're just about to turn right onto a Peninsula Drive. See that large area and off to the right there across the street? That used to be the El Patio Motel. It's one of the biggest ones in Erie. I used to ride there on my bicycle, my little 20-inch bicycle, to get a can of soda, which was a big thing back then. Off to the right used to be the Peninsula Drive-In that I've been to a few times, I think with Sandy once or twice. And coming up also on the right is the entrance to the Tom Ridge Center, Environmental Center. You can see they're sticking up over there to the right. Off to the left is the Waldameer Water Park, which wasn't there when I was growing up. And by the way, after I got my little can of soda at the El Patio, I'd come flying down this road on my little 20-inch bike, going around this curve, and it was pretty scary for a little 11 or 12-year-old. And we're coming up now on the right is Sarah's. They have it's that red building over there. Have really great hamburgers and hot dogs and French fries, and they've got these wonderful twist cones with orange and vanilla ice cream in them. Off on the left were some condos that were also not there when I was growing up, and actually very little of this was here. Basically came down this road, and the first thing you saw was the entrance to the state park. And as we come around the corner here, it begins what is you can see the beginnings of I think it was the Carl Boyce multi-purpose trail. It's that basically wide sidewalk that's running along the side. It's named for the local politician who got the money for it. But this trail now wraps around the entire peninsula. It's a great place to go biking, walking, running, rollerblading, etc., etc. They've got along with the trail, they put in some parking areas off to the right, so you can kind of look across the bay here and see the city of Erie. And it gives people a nice place to do a little sightseeing and do a little relaxing. I think there are 3 of these parking areas along the right here. Okay, here we're going to do a little video magic. I'm going to speed it up about 4 times. So this is like we're driving down the peninsula at 80 miles an hour. Next, we're going to come up on the Feather Observation Platform, which kind of looks over an inlet to Presque Isle, and it's adjacent to Leo's Landing. Interesting place just to stop, and there's the boardwalk up to it, and have a look at the scenery up there and the growth. It's where a lot of fish spawn, the ones who live in Presque Isle. And now we're going to do that little speed up thing so we can get to the next area that I'm interested in. What we're going to come up on next is what's today called Swan Cove. But when I was growing up, it was called the Lily Pond, and that was one of the reasons I used to ride my little bike down to the peninsula, was to go to this place to fish. You can kind of see it straight ahead now. I slowed the video down here a little bit just to take a better look at it. It really hasn't changed all that much, except You used to be able to walk around to the back side of it, kind of where those trees are sticking up right now. And it was maybe, it had this sandbar that maybe was a foot or two deep. You know, the water was very nice. You could actually set a lawn chair out there and fish. But I spent a lot of hours of my youth down here fishing and enjoying the day. What's coming up next is what they call the admin building. It used to be the ranger station, the police station. It's had a number of names, but that's where you could always go for help. The next area we're going to come up on is kind of an interesting one that's really very much a part of the city of Erie's story over the years. It's called the Waterworks area. Originally, Erie got all their water from south of the city, but as the city grew, they needed more water, so they built a pipe into the bay along with a pumping station and started to pump water out of the bay. Problem was they very quickly noticed that the rate of typhoid was going up considerably in the city, like to 25%. So over the years, they first tried to improve the pumping station and extend the pipe a little bit, and then they decided, well, maybe we need, and that really didn't affect the typhoid problem. So then they extended the pipe even farther out into the bay, like, you know, a mile and a half. That didn't solve the problem. So finally they ended up extending the pipe through the peninsula and out into Lake Erie, and the Waterworks area is where that pipe crosses the peninsula. Originally, where it crossed, they built a pumping station and some settling ponds and other things. But these days, those are all just there for show. Today, they just use it for recreation, rent bikes, and have picnic areas and playgrounds. Coming up next here on the right is the road you can see going off there. That heads out to the Presque Isle Marina. The marina is located obviously in Marina Lake, and it's a nice little protected body of water inside the peninsula. It hosts like 470-ish boat slots, and they've got fuel and picnic areas and food and etc. It's a nice place to spend the day. And this is where the road splits and goes around the biggest part of the peninsula. And here we're just about to come up on the only bridge on the peninsula. It just runs over the waterway they built that connects Marina Bay with the system of ponds that covers most of the eastern end of the peninsula. The next stop is the Perry Monument. It was built in about 1920 something to commemorate the Battle of Erie and Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry. The Commodore was really a fascinating gentleman, and while he died at 34, he accomplished many great things along the way. The Battle of Lake Erie was a pivotal battle in the War of 1812 and forced the British Navy out of the Great Lakes and opened access to British forces in Canada by the United States forces. Prior to the battle, the British were able to hold all of the U.S. military posts along the Great Lakes at risk because they had destroyed or captured almost all of the U.S. ships on the Great Lakes. Perry arrived in Erie in 1813, very early in the year, and over the course of the next 8 months, completed a fleet of, it consisted of 2 brigs, which were about 100 plus feet long with 18 broadsides and 2 main guns. One of those was the Lawrence, his flagship, and the other one was the USS Niagara. Along with those, he also completed 8 other ships that would form the rest of the squadron. This was a heck of a logistics challenge because this was basically building a wilderness, so we had to find all of the materials, all of the personnel, all of the equipment. It was an incredible performance. When the battle began, Perry was outgunned. The British had better long-range and short-range cannons at that time. And in the initial engagement, Perry's flagship, the USS Lawrence, was severely damaged, although Perry hung in there till the last second and fired, by the way, the last salvo. But he then had his men transport him over to the other large ship in the fleet, the Niagara. And he took command of the Niagara and re-engaged the enemy and was able to win through. He damaged the British fleet so badly they finally surrendered. The interesting little twist is that Perry wouldn't accept the surrender on the Niagara. He transferred back to the Lawrence and had them give him his sign to surrender there. By the way, short aside here, but that picture of the USS Niagara that's up in the upper left-hand corner, that is an actual replica of the Niagara that was built back in in the 80s somewhere. And it's usually docked at the Erie Maritime Museum. And what's fun is they actually have cruises for it 5 or 6 times a year where they go out and sail on the Great Lakes, and you can participate. A lot of fun. And this is the Perry Monument. It's over there behind those trees right in front of the windshield. Kind of looks like this. Great place to just sit and relax. Got a great view of Erie and the bay. Before we leave this area, I just want to point out one thing. Up there in the upper right-hand corner, that's the dock for a boat called the Lady Kate, a real touristy kind of thing to do at Presque Isle. I'm sure the locals would never admit to actually participating in the cruise, but I'm sure they do.